Just like the beginning of a brand new day, there's a process that offers great promise for federal facilities to help them with the management of their utility system. That process is called utility privatization.
Utility privatization is when the government actually sells the infrastructure for a military installation. It's the sale of the assets and the maintenance of those facilities.
Fort Bragg is one of the largest landmass Army installations in the world, 256 square miles, and has a daytime population of approximately 150,000 people. Fort Bragg has grown almost 35% in the last 10 years. That's a lot of new construction that's related to the base realignment and closure program. With all of that new construction comes new electrical services to accommodate that rapid growth.
When we looked at Fort Bragg initially, during the first 2 years of installation for taking over the facilities, we saw a lot of just things that were in place that we could fix right away. At the same time, we put in a lot of infrastructure to allow us to be able to backfeed certain areas that were critical to the mission of Fort Bragg. We were able to put in a SCADA system, a supervisor control data acquisition system that would tell us when the system had an outage. So we were able to respond quicker. We were able to dispatch power line technicians available during an outage or during critical times. So we were able to provide that support on a regular basis at a moment's notice, as opposed to having to schedule it 2 weeks, a month in advance, which was a major plus for Fort Bragg. The biggest challenge we found when we first got to Fort Bragg was so many designs and so many projects that didn't connect the system to other parts of the base. With us coming in and basically setting the standards for how the construction would take place and providing that to the Corps of Engineers, to general contracting, to design A&E firms, they could actually take our standards and use that in their design to make sure that as we built the system out, it connected, electrically connected, to where we could operate it. We could actually use parts of the system to backfeed other areas and create automatic loops throughout the system, where if you had an outage in one location, then you could feed it from a different direction because the system was connected.
It has also been a huge improvement on Fort Bragg to have a partner like Sandhills, because in a military or federal setting, there's a very cyclical nature to the population. And on Fort Bragg specifically, they say there's 100% turnover every 4 to 5 years. Many times they don't come with a background of really understanding the electrical industry, so having this consistency really helps that process continue to be seamless and helps the maintenance and the operational aspects of the electrical distribution system be very reliable.
Operations people are on top of where the circuits are at, what station levels, loading levels are, what circuit loading levels are, and we make suggestions to the engineer department about load changes due to changes in weather, winter loading versus summer loading. We're very involved with engineering. We have to be. We have to be tied together we see it before they do.
To make the system more reliable, the effort that's going on since we've been here, doing so much conversion from overhead to underground, in my personal opinion, I mean, that's huge. I've been here at Sandhills almost since the start, since they've been on Bragg, and I've seen the turnaround from the amount of outages we had when we first got here to, let's say, all the way up to today, how few outages there are now. A lot of it is system improvement, and a good portion of it is also going to underground. Whenever we have storms, we don't have near the trouble that we had before. Preventing outages starts is with the maintenance, and with the maintenance, we inspect 12% of the system a year, and when we're and that's a minimum. It's annually. Since we've been here, we've done more than the 12%. What we do is a comprehensive inspection from overhead to underground, from the start of the substation all the way to the circuit extent.
Sandhills Technical Services covers anything from IT department, our GIS, CAD guys, any support for engineering operations and the map production, anything related to the network, internal or external, as far as our SCADA network, Our SCADA network here is a complete isolated SCADA network that's dedicated strictly just for our utility system and generators. It's isolated from the outside network for security purposes, and also it helps us maintain the system. We track outages, we get historical data, and also helps in long term in our planning to show what kind of information is out there throughout the years to help plan for what we can expect in the future in the summer months.
We know instantly what's going on. They're looking at it maybe on a weekly level or a daily level or even a monthly level, but they're looking at it in daytime hours, control time. We're looking at it at nighttime. We're looking at it in a storm. We're looking at it when it's 95 degrees. We're looking at it instantly.
Most co-ops use various forms of network between radios, cellular towers, lease lines from public providers that have a lot more vulnerability and risk on the security side, where ours is completely separated from any outside traffic, so we don't have that vulnerability. We typically know the status of all their generators, anything that's going to happen, because we are monitoring the SCADA system for utility, and if something affects the utility, we know it's affecting the generators directly, so we have the folks on site to handle all that for the generator side combined with the utility, so it's a faster response and support for the base.
Back in April, when we had 61 tornadoes touch down in the state of North Carolina at one time, everyone on Fort Bragg that had a generator were the only ones that had power. If it's a DFAC, they want to be able to keep their freezers on so they don't lose a lot of money's worth of food and things of that nature. If it's a hospital, they have medicines that have to be maintained at certain temperatures, all types of critical machinery that just can't be without power during an outage.
Sandhills Utility Services will design, construct, maintain, and operate reliable and safe electrical systems, as well as provide customer-focused service to military installations, their soldiers, and families across the United States.
When you start looking at Sandhills and looking at what do they bring to the table, ton of experience from working from larger utilities, whether it's been Duke or whether it's been Progress Energy or the electric cooperatives that's around Fort Bragg. So it's a tremendous amount of experience and have spent numerous hours working the storms. That's a major plus because people have already been there, done that. Some of the other strengths that we bring to the table is just the customer focus of trying to spend as much time as possible getting not just public works, but getting the housing developments, getting the schools to understand that we're actually here to help. And they are our only customer, so we spend a tremendous amount of time focusing on just that mission. We feel as though we're part of the base itself.
We have an outreach program that is aimed at helping educate the populace on little actions that they can do around the house or in the office to reduce energy intensity and utilize the energy efficient technology that's available more effectively. Sandhills monitors energy consumption and provides support for forecasting and reporting for federal energy reduction compliance. Sandhills Utilities also works with the government in renewable energy projects, contracts, and interconnection guidelines, all of which are valuable additions to a federal facility needing to meet the current mandates.
Because we're not the commodity provider, in other words, we don't provide electricity, we just distribute it from point A to point B, we're more focused on keeping the lights on, because that's our only objective, and then focus on the customer service for the base itself.